That's my chair. Hi and welcome to Knit with Hannah. I'm Hannah, I'm here with Knitting Natter to help you learn to knit the easy way. We're making tassels this week. Did you figure it out? As I do more knitting and I make more tassels, I kind of think, well, that's a bit silly. Why are you going through all those processes to make a tassel? In this method, we do not need a book. If you've watched the previous video about making tassels, you'll know that I used something like this, a hardback book like this, and I wrap it around. So when I was knitting this summer, I filmed a tutorial on how I made these. As I was knitting, I realised something was happening with the yarn, and I thought, that's a really good way of making a tassel, and it would be so much faster. The only thing is, when I filmed this video, I'd left the yarn sitting around for a while, so it got a bit tangled. And please, when you decide to make a tassel, then do it as soon as you finish knitting and don't let the yarn sit around for a month before you make the tassel. Go and watch the tutorial and have a laugh at how silly I was leaving it for so long. So you can see I've finished one tassel here already, and I use the same method for this one as I'm going to for the others. And what I want you to look at first is the ball of yarn that I've used to knit with. So the crucial thing is, when you're knitting with super chunky yarn and you want to make these tassels, that you do start the ball of yarn from the centre. You're knitting from the centre, because it's these outside wraps that we are going to use to make the tassels. That's what we have here. These are the outside wraps from 2 balls of yarn. This shawl uses 2 balls of yarn, so that's how I have two sets of wraps from the outside. So we're going to make 2 tassels with these. So what I'm going to do is sit here and count out. I'm going to do about 32 of these wraps for each tassel. Okay. That looks a bit messy, but believe me, this bit at the end doesn't matter. What matters is that we've got them all sat here at the top, quite happy and ready to go. So I'm going to give myself a nice long length to work with. So I'm going to chop off one of these threads. There we go, that's a nice long length to work with. And that one I'm just going to feed up to the top here. This is the bit that we need. Okay, so I'm just going to wind that over the top, through that hole, and tighten it there while you're holding on to it. Around, through, and tighten it. There we go. Okay, so that is the wraps held. That's the important point. Now we're going to just bring this down here and take about 1.5 inches down here, and again wrap and through, wrap and through, and tighten. Okay, so that is our tassel held in place. What I'm now going to do is put this thread into the sewing needle. There we go, and pull that back up through here. I'm going to let that come up right through the middle of that top piece there. So I'm taking it through here and up into the centre of that, where we caught it at the top. There we go. There we are. That is ready to sew onto the corner here, wherever we need it. But what we need to do now here, crucially, is just tidy up the ends here. Because we didn't wrap it around the book, it all looks a bit messy, but this is actually very easy. I've got big sharp sewing scissors here, and I'm just going to chop that like that. There you go. That was nice and easy, wasn't it? Painless. And I will just hold it and chop, and then hold it and chop. There we go. So that is your tassel. We can just, when we've made them all, we can double check that they're all very similar length. And if one is particularly shorter than the others, or one is particularly longer than the others, then we just trim them off so they're all the same length. Then it won't look ridiculous as you're wearing the shawl. Okay, so that's one. And I'm going to stitch her and make another one. So that is your tassels all ready for the shawl. Okay, that's that. You've done it. And you can use this method for this triangle scarf, triangle shawl, which is in the shop. We have 3 tassels on this. So that's why I came up with this new method. It was very obvious to me that we could do this with the ends of the yarn when I was knitting up the different colour blocks. So it was very simple yes to me when I saw that was happening. You could also use this method with, oh, that's my chair. You can also use this method with this scarf here, which I absolutely love. I love this scarf. It's so long, it's so stripy. It's not a Doctor Who scarf. I cannot claim this as a Doctor Who scarf, but it feels like it because it goes around so many times. There we go. And we have the tassels on the end there. So you can use that for this as well. Both of these are beginner kits. If you've not really knitted much before, then these are ideal to just take that step further and knit with more yarn. If you've watched the video about beginners first projects that I released at the end of August, then you know that I do suggest knitting up small items fast, so you can just get used to it. Cast on, knit, cast off. Cast on, knit, cast off. It makes sense to just get an understanding of all those different processes before you start using more yarn. And knitting with more yarn, like you do with a scarf, and especially with this, is 4 balls of yarn. It's a great knit. It is large needles, and you put the tassels on the end as well. Okay, so yeah, those kits are available. These Shawl is a new kit. I'll put the links to that below. And indeed, this is a kit from last year. So it's one of the favourites. It's one of the kits that I pack up most, especially during the winter. Do go and have a look at those. We've got everything there ready for you. And if you'd like to knit one of these up, then like I said, the link will be below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Do give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. It really does help the channel. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now. Happy knitting. I do feel like I've been talking particularly quickly in this video. Apologies if I have. And you can subscribe and you can find a new video below. So do go and have a look at them.